Hello.
Hello, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, and welcome to the Global Career Forum, the international online recruiting event, which is organized for the MBA students from top business schools. And we welcome you for this online meeting with Communitas Capital. We have the pleasure to welcome for this live session our keynote speaker, Douglas Adkin, who is the co-founder and managing partner of Communitas Capital. Just a quick reminder to the participants, as this is a live Q&A session, I do invite you to ask your questions in the Q&A panel, and we will convey your questions to Doug. Doug, warm welcome.
Thank you very much. It's great to be here virtually.
Thank you for taking your time. So before we kick off or heading into Communitas Capital, could you tell us a little bit more about yourself, your earlier career prior starting the company?
Yeah, sure. Well, thanks, first of all, for arranging this and putting this together. Your organization is very impressive. So, number one. So my background is the following. My first job out of college, I went to Tufts University in Boston, was with a startup. I was the 22nd employee of a company called Instanet, and this was I'm old. This was way back in the 80s, and it was the first electronic competitor to the New York Stock Exchange and to NASDAQ. And to make a long story slightly less long, great group of people, excellent team, right place at the right time. I worked my way up to become CEO, and we went public with a $500 million IPO. And at its peak, we got up to trading 35% of all volume on the NASDAQ market. So that was a really interesting first job. Definitely, and then we're all products of our environment, so I saw the way technology could really turn an industry upside down. I hate the word disruptive, so I'll try to use it as little as possible, but it truly changed the way equities were traded. And then since then, I've been an operator. I've run a data-driven research company. I've invested off of platforms, most recently prior to Communitas, Guggenheim, where I ran the venture capital business, and have always been really excited and interesting in new technologies and how they can change industries. So myself and my two partners, between the three of us, have made over 125 investments over the years. So that's my background.
Perfect, thank you. So where does the inspiration come from to start the Communitas Capital?
Great question. So my two partners are, one is the former CEO of Reuters named Tom Gloser, and the other is the former CEO of the New York Stock Exchange, and prior to that, was the senior partner at Goldman in charge of taking them electronic in the equities and fixed income markets. So we grew up in the industry together, operated and collaborated in certain areas. When Duncan was at Goldman and I ran Instanet, we operated against each other. He tried to put me out of business. We had a mutual respect for one another. We did a lot of investing off of our respective corporate platforms and did a lot of personal investing throughout the years with a group of, friends who were in the industry. We've always talked about doing something together, and after I left Guggenheim, the three of us said, let's do it. So we created, in essence, what we've done is formalized what we've been doing together for years, but formalizing it in the structure of a fund. And we have a strategic group of investors. We just launched it with a little money, friends and family money, last year. We are still in the process of raising capital, but have done 9 investments out of the fund thus far.
Perfect. So as the company is in the early stages, I guess you could also share with us a little bit about the company's mission and perhaps where you see the company evolving in the next 5, 10 years.
Yeah, sure. So, the mission is, since we're a venture capital fund, the mission really is, twofold. One, our job in terms of we take seriously managing other people's money, so getting excellent investment returns or, continuing. We've pre-launching the fund, between the three of us, we've invested in 8 of the so-called unicorns. So it's continuing to identify and invest in leading-edge companies. We also really, again, love working with entrepreneurs who have great ideas. We only invest in companies where we think we can add value and where the CEOs, really want us involved to add value. And we love business models that sort of put investors on a level playing field with the big players.
Perfect. So you're also basically the same, you're in the position, obviously as joining to the Global Career Forum, looking for some new associates, perhaps some MBA talent. And so what I wanted to ask you is if you could tell us a little bit more about the profile that you're looking for, but mainly what is the job position that attendees could apply to?
Yeah, sure. So, and again, apologies for not getting the job descriptions over. So we're very small. We just launched with 20, and we're up to 25 million. So, and just as we are like to invest in disruptive companies, we use 2 marketplaces aggressively to outsource our analysts, a lot of our analysts work. One is called, you guys should take a look at this, it's called Spare Hire and Catalent, which are marketplaces for analysts and consultants. So while we're using getting talent off of those sites, what we're looking for are really 2 open positions. One is an investment associate, which is full-time, and that's doing everything, contributing to all aspects of deal flow, from sourcing and screening and evaluating new investment opportunities, helping us with diligence and some of the deal execution. And so given that it's small and very small, it takes a certain type of personality, I would say, who wants to work at a small company where you will do a lot more than going into an investment banking or consulting program, which are, by the way, fantastic programs. My son just started at Deloitte Consulting this past week. This is a position where the person who we hire for the associate position is going to be in the best of all ways, really thrown into the fire. We'll be meeting with management teams. We'd like someone who's out in the industry and can attend events. But we'll be doing things that people at the big VCs or private equity firms, if you're starting, just simply won't do. So in that way, it's an exciting opportunity for someone who would, whose personality and wants fits this type of organization.
Thank you. So all three founders have had tremendous startup experience before starting Communitas. What would make a good associate for you, and how important is it to have already started or have been involved previously in the early stages of startups?
Yeah, great question. The things I listed a number of things that would be involved in with the position. I would say first and foremost, though, as funny as it kind of sounds, the three of us have run big publicly traded financial services companies. We do not have financial backgrounds, so we need somebody who is, very, very proficient at building financial models. They don't need to be, this isn't a private equity firm, so they don't need to be, massively sophisticated, but we need somebody who, who has that skill set. So people who don't have that skill set, we're just not going to look at, just given our needs. And then the other qualifications are really to someone who can think broadly. If someone's had banking experience or consulting experience, that is typically an interesting candidate, somebody who's had that type of training. I would say very strong drive and ability to really self-direct, right? You're not going to have 600 people around you. We got a team of 5 people right now. So it's really to be self-directed, to have drive, to, I think someone, because we want people, this person to be out in the industry and helping us source deal flow and attend events. I would say more of extroverted, or somebody who likes to do those types of things would be preferable. And then I would say if someone had fintech experience or experience in venture capital or private equity direct experience, that would certainly be a pretty big bonus.
Perfect. A question from Andrew, who's asking if you would consider applicants who have worked on the LP side.
On the LP side?
Yes.
Okay. Absolutely. I mean, the more of the qualifications, if the person has can build financial models, the more investing experience they have as a LP, whether it's through funds or direct investments, would be, preferred. And then, as I talked about, more of the, personality traits that would make somebody a good fit for the job.
When you mentioned right now, before I go to the other questions that I have here, when you mention a good fit, what about the culture or colleagues? What's unique about the place? What can people expect?
Yeah, again, this is, I've worked at a startup and run big companies and a small company, and so I've been in organizations with thousands of people. We are very small. We plan to grow as we get more funds and have more success or continued success with our investments. But we're, literally 4 people in a WeWork space. So someone's got to want to, in some ways, from a cultural perspective, be part of a startup, but with 3 people who have had quite a bit of experience. And as I said, having somebody who will be meeting with the companies that we're thinking of investing in, or companies we already have invested in, or out in the industry, helping us find new investments. It's got to be somebody who can connect well with people.
Perfect.
Some people love doing that, and some people hate doing that.
So basically, also, I think that's what you were saying right now. It answers question coming in from Donald, who is asking if you have open positions in the San Francisco Bay Area. So I guess you can say not currently, but maybe something for the future.
Yeah, absolutely. Not right now. We, in all likelihood, our plan would be to open something up out there within, I would say, 3 years, or to seriously consider it. We have excellent relationships with a number of the big Silicon Valley firms, so we do see quite a bit of deal flow out of the valley without being in the valley. So our latest investment, we didn't even see through a VC. We saw it directly from a company that approached us that isn't even raising capital but wanted us involved, so they were willing to take a small investment. 2 Stanford AI geniuses who have figured out a way to build a really powerful analytics company that takes a look across the entire crypto world and provides really interesting insights for investors. So that came out of the Valley. and we were the only venture fund that was allowed to invest.
Excellent. Another question from the audience is, what are your expectations and what would be the performance expectations for this position in the first 12 months?
Excellent question. I think it would be, to really add value in a number of ways. One, and I neglected to mention, is most VCs, the biggest challenge they have is sourcing deals. Just because of our experience and background, we are shown on average 3 investment opportunities per day. So it's like a fire hose, and we need somebody to come in, the person to help us better manage the pipeline process. So that would be one. 2 would be, really adding value in helping us analyze the business, be able to build the financial model, certainly with input from us, and be able to put quality investment memos together to, I think, give people externally, or have our external constituents, so to speak, our companies themselves, prospects, have them have a positive view of Communitas, and just generally adding value to where we make investments and the process itself.
Perfect. Besides basically people applying this position online, as mentioned before, we're going to put the position online later on today. What can people expect when you get in touch with them, if they would be a good candidate? Are you going to test anything? Do you move straight to the interviews? What can they expect?
Yeah, so what we'll do is we'll look at the CVs first and see the CVs that we think are the best fits, take an initial screen. Then what we will do is have a phone call interview with the candidate. If we want to continue the conversation, what we'll do is have the candidate complete a work product for us. So we'll give some information about a company and have the candidate go back and produce an investment memo and a recommendation. And again, whether the candidate thinks it's a good company or a bad company or invests or not, in some ways is irrelevant. What we're looking for is how someone thinks about it. And then depending on that workflow, that will get us down to really the final couple of candidates or candidate to offer, to make an offer.
Yeah, an offer. I have another question from Andrew, who is asking you, when you consider the long-term vision of the firm, what is the ideal check size and or equity stake you're hoping to acquire in your target deals?
Excellent question. So, as I said earlier, we launched with we have approximately $25 million in LP commitments. Our investors also want to see bigger co-investment opportunities. So if right now our maximum size of an investment can be 5% of the fund, so we're only able to write, fairly small checks. What we are able to do, however, is offer a larger amount to our investors who are interested in investing more capital in the companies that we're interested in. So right now it's really less about ownership and more about just the opportunity. And if we can really like the company, we'll put $1 million in out of the fund, and then if there's a co-invest opportunity, we will offer that up to our investors outside of the fund.
Just, keeping in mind also that you have limited time today with us, I have just a few short questions about the position that are also coming from the audience. One thing we haven't mentioned was when the position is supposed to start. Do you have any expectations on that?
Yeah, I mean, the position would start, after, either sometime, I would say late summer, if we find someone that, we find a really good fit for the position, we'd certainly hire that candidate earlier. But as far as I understand it, most of the people on the call are in school.
Yeah, they should be graduating around May.
Correct. So
majority.
That's the timing. And then we'll also send you, we also are looking for a summer intern as well. So we'll be sending you that description. We really have just put the word out informally at this point, but we'll send you a job description for that as well.
Perfect. Perhaps another question. What is the structure of the compensation upside for this position?
Yeah, the initial comp will be around if you're coming out of an MBA program, around 100,000 as the cash comp, with an opportunity to earn more in a bonus. Again, we are pretty small, so we don't have a ton of management fees to pay, I would say, as much as the banks, although we think that's pretty competitive. And then over time, as the firm grows, you're getting in on the ground floor of something. If things work out, there's the ability to potentially get some carried interest on some of the deals, as well as potentially equity in the management company.
Well, excellent. Perhaps any last-minute advice to the future applicants?
My advice would be, which sounds cliche, but I really think it's true, that you really got to do something you're passionate about, because it comes through if someone is working at in a profession or in a job where they, I don't know, for status reasons or other reasons, it's good to work at an investment bank. I would say it's a fantastic job for those who want to work in a structured environment and, like the business. But if you're not passionate about it, it comes through. So follow your passion.
That's a great advice.
I know your parents might not love that, but I think my parents were not that happy that I turned down an investment banking position out of college, but it all worked out pretty well.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us here today. It's a pleasure to have you. And we're going to put the recording of the session also on the event website for those who weren't able to join today so they can have a look. So again, thank you.
Perfect. Thank you for setting it up, and great questions.
Thank you. Have a great day. Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.